There's a moment in Interstellar, one of my favorite sci-fi films, where Matthew McConaughey's character Cooper, spinning through space and about to interconnect with an exploding, orbiting structure, when his droid asks him if it's possible. Cooper replies, "It's necessary." This is a talk about necessity. Hello, my name is Elias Cattan from Mexico City. I'm a recovering architect, used to work on large private projects until some changes in my personal life led me to dive deep into nature. And some rituals and shamanic journeys, a hepatitis A, all of this helped me to regenerate myself. Understanding my own place and my own health is key. In this rebirth, I came to understand what I hope to be my life's mission. That's why this talk is rated R for regenerative. Regeneration on a personal level, regeneration on a global level. In shamanic terms, we, the two-legged, once formed part of a great circle with our brothers and sisters of the animal world. Yet now, in our post-industrial era, in what geologists are calling the Anthropocene, we have left it. And in leaving, we've forgotten the common language we shared with our animal brothers and sisters. So the role of the shaman is not to give you psychedelics or to have you have these out-of-body experiences. It is to help us remember our common tongue. So how do we remember or relearn this common language? Now, as we are dealing with this deep environmental crisis, it becomes really evident that the relationship we need to regenerate, to renew, is not only with our animal siblings, it is with our entire biosphere. Regeneration can actually be simple, really simple, right? It's just connecting place to people, people to place. It's about enabling people to understand the role within their community and the role that their place or site has within their bioregion. You can go for a walk in Oaxaca or in Bali, and the people there take you to their watershed break. Top of their mountain from there, the adjacent community receives you and walks you to their town. Kind of obvious if you think of it. This is what we see. This is our sense of place, our life shed, as Carol Sanford calls it. Life flows within our watersheds. But in complex urban and industrial communities, connecting ourselves to place is much more difficult. Our watershed is the scale of how we develop, and rivers have become our sewers, literally. The core challenge of regenerative development was best framed by my dear teacher, friend, and mentor, Tim Murphy. How can we help the best expression of life reveal itself? How can it emerge? How can we ourselves emerge in this process and of finding our place within our place? I think it's a key question to understand and to unravel. And right now, it's as evident as ever, right? Or who's not overwhelmed with our problems? Not to say the current coronavirus pandemic. In reality, it has been going on for a while. And the dominant narratives that we are doomed, right? And any day now, Thanos would click his fingers and half the population will disappear. It's tempting to view decimating effects of the bubonic plague, the Spanish flu, or God forbid, the coronavirus as a system corrections for the population problem. But the solution doesn't need to have humanity, does it? We need to develop systems which enable self-help. We need to develop ways of looking at seemingly overwhelming problems and to understand that these problems are interconnected. As this graphic here developed by Friedrich Capra and inspired by Lester Brown's work shows, systemic problems actually form systems, and we see food security, climate change, water scarcity, global temperatures. All of these are completely interrelated. Food is our main system disruptor. My personal obsession over this past year has been glyphosate. Glyphosate is a chemical found in the herbicide Roundup and is widely used in the agro industry, a known carcinogen. And it's now trending up in very big levels in oatmeal, cereals, children's cereals, my personal trauma, beer, not to mention women hygiene products because of non-organic cotton. And last year began with me traumatized by beer contaminated with glyphosate, and in the end ended with me being healed by beer. More specifically, this beautiful small batch of agroecological beer made by my new friend Matthias life would have it in a factory just a few blocks from my house. Small example, this speaks to the power of dealing with things. Even though we may feel overwhelmed as the beaches and rivers of Mexico and the Caribbean have been contaminated by agrochemicals, life is within them. This feeds the swathes of sargassum blooms that are overcrowding the oceans and the beaches. Tulum no more. Starting small gives us a lot, and frameworks I've learned are really important to frame our bigger thinking and our conversations. Know where we are in certain aspects and what we need to deal with. This is a very tasty framework by Kate Raworth. Helps us understand that we need to strengthen our social foundation and understand our ecological ceiling, a base for good life of individuals within society and our shared planetary boundaries. And it's important to stay within the donut to strive, to survive and thrive, by the way. My personal mission has been dealing with the river pollution in Mexico. Mexico City is within a very aqueous region. It's a city built atop a wetland system fed by rivers and underground aquifers. The Mexica regarded it as a belly button of the world. This is in 1300s. This is in the 1800s. And this is it right now. The Anahuac region means close or near to the water in Nahuatl. Mexica, Aztec language, a common language. This picture looks as apocalyptic as many of the disaster movies have been filmed in Mexico City. But my question is, how do we shift the conversation in a place and shift it towards regeneration? We need to be able to shift from these apocalyptic scenarios and develop narratives that help us inspire. Also, we must take advantage of systems in chaos, because this is when we can profoundly reorganize the system. How do we follow the regenerative example of this beautiful creature that is native to the river, to the wetlands of Mexico City? The axolotl, who is able to regrow not only severed limbs, but also parts of its heart and parts of its brain. And how do we spark regeneration, our regeneration? Developing a love of place, life, and people. Developing businesses and designs that are in harmony with this. And committed to self-community and system development. We need to be optimists. We need to reintegrate biotechnology back into our imaginations. We need to develop ourselves in good relationship to place. We need to design things which are in harmony with our environment and processes which are in harmony with our ecosystems. And we look to help those who want to participate develop with a shared plan for mutual evolution. Visiting examples such as Rancho La Paz in Valle de Bravo, that was totally regenerated from a highly toxic potato farm, proved that regeneration is possible and has been happening for the last 20 years. This beautiful piece of land is now producing medicines, seminars, very rich soil, and high abundance of biodiversity. Or this river, just 30 minutes from the urban center of Mexico City. Rio Magdalena gives us a window into potential. What can we be? How can we bring this quality into the urban fabric? Like this river in Seoul, the beautiful Cheonggyecheon, which inspired our Piedad River regeneration. Academically and socially pressured the new mayor who built the second story for cars to take it away. This propelled Seoul into a greater path, greener path, greater path, and the city's regent to become president of Korea, South Korea. And inspired us to do this and to host these type of experiences where we can visit our streams. This is a spring in the Magdalena River shed where water is born. We need to develop a deeper understanding of our living processes, experience them through our own body and senses. Go meet your beautiful springs. This map, because mapping is a big part of it, is a scan of Mexico City's rivers. You see how the rivers are like veins in our organism. Or this topography, by mapping water qualities, we develop an understanding that allows us to move step by step towards the goal of regeneration, like the steps of a pyramid, stone by stone. Our NGO is based on these 4 axes: water, mobility, public space, and responsible consumptions. And we can do this individually, collectively, locally, and regionally. This basically means changing habits to actions, budgets, infrastructures, and even laws. Through workshops, creative messaging, and tactical urbanism, we can build towards solutions that are quick, inexpensive, systemic, and beautiful. Make them in a way that inspires. You can use these frameworks for tactical urbanism. This is inspired by KISS, by the way. Keep it simple, stupid. Regenesis turned it into quick, inexpensive, simple, systemic. I like to add beautiful because, as Buckminster Fuller says, if it's not beautiful, I know I have failed. Developing a shared understanding of your bioregion and its potential. Generating a field of people and organizations that work from that potential. Workshops, like we did in Mexico City, led to a river regenerated project that carried into a social strategy, hashtag Picnic in el Rio, and then into our first public wetland. Tactical urbanism at work. Hosting these experiences are important to knit the social fabric that can bring about the changes we want to see in our cities. And a lot of these experiences we're seeing now can be hosted online. Going out to the street and work on simple, cheap solutions like bike paths, footpaths that can help people to develop a deeper understanding of their region and their city. Basically, we need to illuminate and create. We need to learn to evolve more micro-industries that help develop agroecological practices, like my local brewery, bettering ecosystem and communities. We all need to join in the creative endeavor of illuminating things, of bringing light to darkness. Life ups more than startups, things that better life. And sometimes it starts with just a quick visit to your closest, preferably clean local river. We need to really go for it. Daylight is where it's still encased in concrete. So we create cities in harmony with nature. Which brings me back to the circle my shaman spoke about. At its center is the tribal fires, our shared life. We need to rejoin the circle, rejoin our tribe with our animal brothers, share our responsibilities for this planet, and feel warm again. Thank you.